Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you guys for joining me here on a beautiful Saturday evening. Hope you guys have been enjoying watching some college football, getting ready for tomorrow's Steelers game versus the New England Patriots. We got a couple of pretty big updates for tomorrow's game, so I wanted to get in front of a camera today, guys, and kind of go over my thoughts on really this double dose of pretty big news for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their fans heading into week 3 tomorrow. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tomorrow, Ponzi and I will be going live starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be going live for an hour of pregame coverage, followed by live play-by-play, and of course extensive post-game coverage as well. We have the largest Steelers watch parties anywhere here on YouTube. So if you guys want to join us for free tomorrow, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon. All right, so now let's get into the news of the day. The biggest story is actually with the injury status of star cornerback for the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez, who is a big part of their defense. He really is a big part of their plan defensively, because if you can have both him and Carlton Davis on either side, on the outside there, they can really play a lot of man coverage, and they can and that really opens things up for their secondary and for their defensive game plan. But for the third straight week here to start the season, Gonzalez will now be out. He was downgraded from questionable to out today by the Patriots, so he will not be playing in this football game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know what you guys are saying, but Jack, Devin Witherspoon, the best corner for Seattle last week, didn't play, and that obviously didn't make an impact on the final outcome. So why is this a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because I think that the Patriots are going to have to play more zone coverage than maybe what they want to do. The reason why you go out again, guy like Carlton Davis in free agency this year to pair with Gonzalez is to play a lot of man coverage on the outside. And Alex Austin has been the guy that's been filling in for Gonzalez as he's been dealing with this hamstring injury, and he has not looked good. So I think across the board, the matchups look better for the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers instead of Gonzalez, who I consider, at bare minimum, a top 5 corner in football. Going up against DK Metcalf, your number 1 receiver, you have Carlton Davis on him. And, Davis is a good player, good cover player, but he's not in the same realm as a guy like Gonzalez. So it's going to open up more opportunities for DK tomorrow. It's also going to open up opportunities for some of the secondary receiving options because Marcus Jones is their slot corner. He's okay, but he's certainly not like a high-end type of starter type of guy. And then Alex Austin is a replacement level, backup level guy. So there's going to be some opportunities here for some of the secondary weapons for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have good football games. So keep your eye out for Calvin Austin. Keep your eye out for Jonnu Smith. Keep your eye out for some of these other guys that are going to be getting opportunities tomorrow afternoon with Christian Gonzalez being out of this lineup here. And with Alex Austin out there and Gonzalez off the field in the first 2 weeks versus the Raiders and the Dolphins, respectively, honestly, 2 offenses that have kind of struggled through the first, for Miami, 3 weeks. For the Raiders' case, 2 weeks, they didn't play particularly well against either one of those football teams. So I think that this week is a great opportunity for Aaron Rodgers, Jaylen Warren, DK Metcalf, this entire offense to really get going, get a bit of confidence. After last week, things were shaky at best, let's call it, on offense. They had a really good week 1 where they were able to get that play action game going, get into the end zone. They've been really good in the red zone to this point. There's just been one real crucial mistake there, that being Calvin Austin's kind of weird scramble drill play where he tipped the ball up in the air to the Seahawks player. Otherwise, it would have been an awesome touchdown from Aaron Rodgers to Pat Freiermuth. So I really like what I've seen from the Steelers offense so far in the red zone. I've liked what I've seen out of Aaron Rodgers. The arm talent is certainly still there. Just got to keep them upright. I'm looking at you, offensive line. Hopefully we can get that done this week, and hopefully the run game can look better as well. This is a Patriots defense where their 2 starting off-ball linebackers, Robert Spillane and Christian Harris, lead the NFL in missed tackles. They're number 1 and number 2, respectively, out of any player in the NFL. All right, so this is a defense that certainly misses a lot of tackles, or at least it has through the first 2 weeks. So the Steelers offense certainly needs to capitalize. The other bit of pretty big news here for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into this game game is that Kaleb Johnson, the third-round rookie, lots of expectations heading into this year. It's looking likely that he's going to be inactive for this football game as a healthy scratch. And I'm already seeing a lot of people kind of panic about this on Steelers Twitter, like, oh my gosh, I think Andrew Filipponi tweeted, we're flushing another third-round pick down the toilet or something like that. And Kaleb has only had, 3 or 4 carries in his rookie season, 2 games into his rookie campaign, and people are already pressing the abort button on this kid. I think people need to take a big, deep breath, take a step back here, and realize that, I understand that this is a business where it's like you expect results pretty quickly, but like sometimes I think we go a little bit too far with that, where we don't give people time to develop and we hype up these rookies so much that we expect them to be superstar level players right away. And, sometimes that's the case, especially, with the running back position. There's not a very big shelf life. A lot of times running backs can come into the league and be very productive players right away. But we have to remember, man, this is a kid coming out of Iowa that was really asked to do only like early down kind of stuff. He wasn't really asked to pass protect all that much. He wasn't asked to catch passes out of the backfield, really. It was just a run-heavy offense. And, he has a lot of that kind of stuff to learn and develop in his rookie season. And, in terms of the early down stuff, Steelers aren't going to give him that work right now because Jaylen Warren looks awesome, and he's pretty clearly their best running back on the roster right now. And then when you take into account the fact that he's just not going to be able to give you any special teams value either because he's being demoted off of kickoff return, it's like, do you really want to keep a guy on the active roster if he's only going to get like 2 or 3 carries a game? I just don't think that is smart roster management there from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think it's actually pretty smart to if you're going to take Kaleb off of kick return, to take him off the field entirely, make him a healthy scratch for now. It's not for forever, right? It's not like you're releasing him or anything at this point. You're just not giving him a helmet for this particular game until he proves that he should be getting that helmet back. And for the people saying that this is going to like ruin his confidence and that he's never going to bounce back, I think that there's multiple ways that you can kind of spin this and you can kind of view this. You can view it that way, where you say this is going to ruin his confidence, yada yada yada. Why would you do this? And then there's the other perspective there, where it's like, all right, this is a little bit of a wake up call for Kaleb Johnson, where he's got to kind of wake up. He's got to do the right things in order to earn his spot moving forward, not only in special teams, but also just in the general grand scheme of the offense. So Trey Sermon is the guy that's being elevated off of practice squad. I would expect him to be the number 3 running back. He provides more value in special teams overall than Kaleb Johnson does now, because Kaleb has been benched from his role as the kickoff return man. So, really that's where most of his value to the team in terms of the game day value was. And if you're going to be taking him off of kickoff, it just doesn't make sense to have Kaleb on the game day roster. So I fully support that decision from the Pittsburgh Steelers, which seems likely at this point. We'll see what the official designation is, but with them bringing up Trey Sermon, that certainly indicates to me that Kaleb Johnson will not be getting a helmet tomorrow. But injuries happen. Opportunities will arise. I'm sure that Kaleb will have an opportunity to potentially get his kick return duties back at some point this year. This is not going to be a forever thing, guys, where Kaleb Johnson is being a healthy scratch for long portions of the season. There are exceptions, but we still have to remember that Mike Tomlin is very much still a coach where he doesn't really play rookies early on very often unless they're really showing out in camp, all right? Like guys like Derek Harmon, who's going to have an immediate role when he gets on the field. It looks like he's going to be giving it a go tomorrow afternoon. Or a guy like Joey Porter Jr., who sat for a little bit, but then it became apparent that he needed to go in pretty early on in his rookie season, right? So if that opportunity presents itself, I still believe in Kaleb Johnson, man. I still believe in the talent there. I believe in the vision. I believe in his fit inside this offense. And when he gets an opportunity to really show what he can do, and he gets a little bit of time to actually develop, and I think that's the important piece that's kind of missing here, is that this is a young man that really did need to develop out of Iowa. And with Jaylen Warren playing as well as he is, you can give Jaylen 17, 20, maybe even more than that touches a game. And I think that he can handle that workload. So, I think that allows this team to be patient with Kaleb Johnson, not try and throw him out there too early, which is another thing that can ruin his confidence is if you put him out there too early and he doesn't play well. Just look at how playing early can really devastate the confidence of an NFL quarterback, right? So, it's not just quarterbacks that lose confidence with poor play if they're not ready, right, guys? So, I think a lot of people are upset about Kaleb Johnson and, already calling him a bust and all these things. And I just think that it's a little bit premature to be saying those things just 2 games into his NFL career. And with him being taken off of kickoff return, I actually think it's a good move by the Pittsburgh Steelers because you can use Trey Sermon in more ways on special teams than you can with Kaleb Johnson. So that's my thoughts on that. To finish up today's show, guys, before I leave you guys before tomorrow, I do want to give a couple thoughts on the Steelers defense because obviously we've discussed a lot about the Steelers defense, how they've struggled these first 2 weeks. And what's kind of interesting about specifically this run defense is that we have seen flashes of good play from this unit. In fact, they're leading the NFL right now, okay? They're leading the NFL first place in runs given up of 0 or negative yardage, all right? So they are, doing a good job disrupting, but they're not consistently, stopping the explosive runs because they're also number 1 in the league in the most explosive runs given up. They're also first in the league in missed tackles. So they just need to play more discipline. They need to tighten up the hatches here a little bit. I think pretty clearly they have the talent to get the job done and be a good defense. It's just a matter of whether or not Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin, the people responsible for the game planning, the alignment, the execution of it all here, gets these guys to play well and actually execute on the field. So still see the potential with this group. It's been a kind of a rough first 2 weeks. I think we all agree on that. But I think we also have to remember, guys, that a lot of teams are still trying to figure out who they are as a football team at this point in the season. Not every team has it all figured out heading into the year, especially teams with so much new players like the Pittsburgh Steelers have. So you have to remember that it's a process. Remember that, remember last year, all right? This team started off great on defense. I mean, the first 10 weeks of the season, this was the best defense in football, and then they completely fall off a cliff come December and January. I would rather have it be the other way around where you're dealing with some issues early on in the season and then you're playing your best football at the end and when you get into the playoffs. Now, obviously, the Steelers need to take advantage of this next 4-game stretch. You're going up against a young quarterback tomorrow in Drake May. Then you're going up against Carson Wentz the next week. Then you're going up against Joe Flacco the next week. And then you're going up against Jake Browning. That's a 4-game stretch where you should have the quarterback advantage at the very least, and you should be able to go 3-1, if not 4-0. So hopefully during this stretch you can collect some W's while this defense really finds its identity, finds its chemistry. These guys build a lot of confidence. That's really my biggest hope and my expectation for this defense here heading into this next 4-game stretch. Now, obviously, if they lose tomorrow against the Patriots, there's going to be a lot of, once again, panicking. 1-2 start, two games that arguably you should be winning that you don't in a row here to start the season, and it's going to be tough if this team can't win and kind of calm the waters and calm the storm a little bit tomorrow afternoon. But with Gonzalez out, with this team really seeming like they are focused in this week, and hopefully that is the case and they come ready to play tomorrow afternoon. The fact that Mike Tomlin has an exceptional record against young quarterbacks like Drake May. There's a lot of things pointing in the direction of a Steelers victory tomorrow afternoon. It's just a matter of these guys going out and executing. So I'm looking forward to reacting to the game with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully the Steelers can pull out a victory. If you guys want to join us for our live coverage of Steelers versus Patriots tomorrow afternoon, we'll be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern. Again, an hour of pregame coverage followed by live play-by-play of the actual game itself. And then we'll be still live after the game for our post-game coverage as well. So if you guys want to join the most extensive game day fan experience for Steelers fans anywhere here on YouTube, it's all 100% free to join, guys. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. So that'll be it for me today, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, here we go, Steelers.